Alright, so this is part 1 of 2. These are for my personal collection, so I could have done this all in one go. But number 1, I have 2. I'm still finishing 2 of them. They're I could finish them right now if I wanted to, but on the Kindle. I don't like reading the Kindle books until after I read the physical books, and even then it's at night. And so I have this really stupid rule about that. And also, last night I was like, you know what? Let's do it in 2 parts. Even though this is my personal collection, I could do it all in one for once, like how it was back in the old days, like old days, I want to say, with the library books, where I'd wait till I finished each and every last one, then bring that whole entire stack with me. I can't do that anymore because I have a job, and the library is right down the street from where I work. So obviously during my lunch break or whenever, that's when or just after school, I'll return the books to your bag. It's usually pretty heavy, so I like to get rid of them ASAP, and then return them. Now that you saw the one, actually you will be seeing part 1 of that stack, like the most recent stack of library books. What I like to call, because that's the only way I can justify it being so little, such a little stack, is to tie me over between this stack and then the library stack. I will get into it after. Well, I guess I get into it now. So this is actually breaking the rule. So this is not the miscellaneous pile. This was in between the miscellaneous pile and then the library books. So library miscellaneous and library image creators is what this stack is. It's the in between. I added a lot, so it basically was its own stack. It wasn't like that small stack. It was the actual big stack like how I normally have big stack, because I got kind of carried away, and also it's been so long. I think it's been since what, Martin Luther King Day. So I wanted to celebrate that 3-day weekend and go back to basics and do 25 comics a day, for Friday and Saturday. Sorry, not Friday and Saturday, for Saturday and Sunday. And especially and that's why I'm waiting so long to read the library stack, is because I'm waiting until February break to get into those, which is going to be a very risky thing for me to do, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so the miscellaneous, so the image stack is just the image creators on other publishers in the library. I'm like, oh, let's see what Garth Ennis has written. I got all of his image work. Let's see what he's written. Obviously, Preacher, but let's see what else the library has. This is a bad example because I pretty much read everything the library has from Garth Ennis, and why wouldn't I? What's a good example? Jim Zub. Let's see what else he has. And sometimes I will do that. Like Jim Zub, I think with Garth Ennis, I've read everything the library has, just because they have so few, other than Wayward, which I own myself, because it's just from Image. And every now and then I'll say, oh, let's see what else is there. Oh, let's reread Murder World or something like that. And that's what that is. I got these books from Image. These creators work from Image Comics. That's what I'm collecting physically. Let's see what the library has. And I get those books, and that's what that is. The Image guys' work, or the Image Works pile. I'm trying to come up with a really good phrase to put it as. I can't think of anything right now. I had a good one way back when, but I don't remember what that video was. And when I come up with it, or when I watch that video, or I try and find that video and I find it, then I will write it down, and then I will say it over to practice, like I'm practicing for a big test, so I never forget it. Kind of like how you never forget the state you live in, or your address, or your zip code, your phone numbers of your family members, anything like that. Even though I haven't put them in, because they're saved on my phone, I still remember my mom's, dad's, and sisters. Other than that, I don't know, but I know those 3. So that's kind of how I want that to be. But anyways, let's get on with it, because we're getting a bit sidetracked here. Old Haunts by Rob Williams. This was a reread. Actually, it's by Rob Williams and Ollie Masters, so it's 2 for 1. Because Ollie Masters, I hope, has not done anything for Image, at least that I know of. And I know Rob Williams has. That was the whole point of why I read this again. And this one, still good. I still think that AWA Upshot, first of all, has the best pricing overall. Each and every trade will always be $9.99. To think I could get 10 of these for $100 is crazy. I could basically get 16 trades every month if I was getting them from AWA, and I could get them from Amazon directly. So I wouldn't have to go through third-party sellers anymore. Honestly, I would not mind doing that, because Amazon, like, hit or miss with how they deliver packages, but I mean, honestly, hit or miss with some of the third party sellers too now. So honestly, like, as days go on, I'm kind of thinking, like, the only thing that these third party sellers have is that they're a bit cheaper than Amazon. You know, that's why this time around for the end of the month comic haul, it'll be interesting to see. I don't say anything right now, but it's going to be kind of interesting. There's a reason for it. Basically, I don't know why I said it like that. Basically, it's going to be just like 3 books probably, and they're all going to be from Amazon because of what I gotten so far this month. I have some comics coming in. Yes, you will. I think you will see those come in before this video comes out. So there you go. I plan on doing it on Sunday. If the book comes in on Sunday, it might not because there's snow, but hopefully it comes in. Knock on wood. And I just have to, like, meet him at the bottom of the driveway. Like, he'll, like, have me on the phone. He'll call me, even though he doesn't have my phone number. That's what we call an over-exaggerated, it's called a joke. And he calls me on the phone. He's like, hey, I'm about at the bottom of the driveway. And I go down the sled. I would not mind doing that. Anyways, Old Haunts. Going back to the topic at hand, task at hand. Old Haunts. I still like this book. I still think it's good. It's kind of confusing. Like with Ollie Masters is the kitchen, it kind of is all over the place. It kind of does, it's like, almost like too fast paced, but I don't mind that. And because it's a fast paced comic, and honestly, I think each time I read it, I'll understand more and more. Same with the kitchen, which I believe is Ollie Masters also. Absolution volumes 1 and 2. So I thought that there was a volume 3 and up. This is all of Absolution, written by Christos Gage. And that was, like, such a nice surprise to find that out, because I loved this series. This series is really damn good. Now, I mean really damn good in the sense that I got this for Volume 1 I got for $5.99, and Volume 2 I got for $3.99. $10 for this entire series in trade format. Brand spanking new. So in the sense of discounted books, this is really good. Now, I'm not saying that if you had to pay full price, like, what's the full price here? Because Avatar Press is definitely, yeah, $24.99 for this trade. Yeah, Avatar Press, I'm never gonna stop getting Image books in exchange for Avatar Press. That's like, they're even worse than Dark Horse. Like, Dark Horse, like, per like this small trade. As far as like omnibuses go and the bigger collected editions go, somehow Dark Horse is a really good price. There's actually one coming up here when I get to hardcovers. I want to check what the price is on that book. But yeah, Avatar Press is way too expensive. For this thing here, that's way too expensive. It's a pretty thick trade, sure, but pretty damn expensive. From Image, this would be like $20. Because again, it is definitely thicker than your average trade, but only by a little bit. But anyways, going back to task at hand, I like this series. Again, I would say if you get it half off, that would be worth it. Each trade you get half off, so $24.99, half off of that, then half off of $14.99. That's the UK price though. I don't know how my local comic shop got the UK printing, but UK $14.99, half of that. I think it's just $20 US. Where I live. Someone doxes me just based off the fact that I say I live in the U.S. Like, nothing else. Just that. That's how paranoid some people are, I feel. I definitely, like, honestly, like, I probably would be... I feel a bit weird saying that. Even though the U.S. is a huge-ass... USA. Like, it's the United States of America. It's like, it's all of America. Anyways. I'm getting completely sidetracked today. I gotta get off the... super sidetracked. It's one thing to say, oh, this is the Image pile, next one will be the miscellaneous pile. Another thing entirely to get on states of them, and get on America and states and where people live and all that jank. Alright, so Absolution, really good series. It is, I think this and The Boys do vulgar comic books right. The Boys, I understand that actually I've only read the first omnibus of that, so that's where I, keep that in mind. I've only read the first omnibus of The Boys, but I think this is for fans of The Boys. If you like The Boys TV show and the comic and you want more of that feel, this will give you what you want. But it's also not like a rip-off of anything. It actually is somewhat unique. The powers, the main guy's powers are pretty unique, and like the story is kind of like that edgy superhero versus the world kind of thing. But I think that it's still interesting. It's still investing. This was a reread, and I was still invested because it'd been a pretty long while. Volume 2 was not. So Volume 2 was all the way like haven't read that before. I will go over these again and do the out of 10 reviews. So, you know what? No, I'll just do it right now. So, Old Haunts is like 2 books so far. Old Haunts 9 out of 10, and same here. So both 9 out of 10 so far. Ain't that convenient? Next up, we have the first 2 volumes of Nick Spencer's Spider-Man run, and also the only 2 volumes of Nick Spencer's run that I have in physical format. I think the only one I have in digital format is just Volume 3, and I stopped after that. I don't know why. I think it was so long ago that I thought I had it at the time. This series, rereading it, I liked it, but I honestly had a lot more issues with it than I did the last time. And it's kind of ironic they call this Spider-Man Back to Basics, because this is pretty basic. I don't know if Nick Spencer he started out, because Spider-Man at that time, it was Dan Slott's run, and he tried so many things with Spider-Man, it just did not fit at all. And I think Marvel Comics knew that, so when they did their like Back to Basics imprint, whatever the hell you want to reboot, kind of sort of, back in 2018 to get new readers into the comic shops. I think they were like, let's get Dan Slott off Spider-Man forever, once and for good. He's been on the Spider-Man for way too long. Literally is known as the Spider-Man writer that's been on this series the longest. And let's get Nick Spencer here, because Dan Slott's been doing whatever the hell he wants to with Spider-Man, and it's just stupid now. And no one's reading it. And that's our biggest title, so that's bad. And then Nick Spencer came along, and he's like, you know what, let's just go literally back to basics. What people think of when they think of Spider-Man. Decent storytelling and decent writing, it's decent. Again, I don't know if it gets better as it goes along. I think it has to. I feel like it would have to, because of the fact that it's been like critically acclaimed. Everyone loves Nick Spencer's run. As it went along, people didn't like it as much, so I guess maybe I'll hate it as it goes along. But it's decent. It's not bad, it's not great, it's just decent. And Volume 2, I feel the same exact way. When I was reading this, I wasn't like too terribly invested, but I did want to finish each trade. However, I will not be continuing on with this series. My local library does not have the next few volumes. I think for whatever reason they just have Volume 7. They have these 2, I think, or just I know I have this one. So local library has it, and it's very weird printing too. And I think they got like a pirated version. So it's very weird printing. It's not like this. I should show it off actually. Just like take it out for one time, or just like take a screenshot of it. That's what I'll do. I'll take a screenshot of it and post it on community posts and on Instagram too, because I think it's a cool thing to show off. Anyways, I have to censor the library though. I have to cross it out, because that's too. It's one thing when I'm showing it like this. It's another thing when I'm showing it like this. Basically like that, where it's clear as day, and then it's not me in a way. But anyways, yeah, so decent 7 out of 10. Yeah, 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 for this run, for both volumes. Ultimate X-Men Volume 1 was a pretty big surprise. So Volume 2 I had, the longest time I think it was Volume 3? No, Volume 2. The longest time I had Volume 2. That was like way back in the day. I don't even think I was doing YouTube regularly, and if I was, it was like every now and then. I don't think I even did it like every time I went to the comic shop. I don't think I shut them off. I could be wrong, because I have over 800 videos, but that's only because I do weekly videos, and then sometimes it's at least one video per week, and sometimes there'll be several videos per week. So it's added up over the years, and I've been doing this regularly since, I want to say, let's say since 2018. Let's say that. So that's, I want to say, I had videos on the channel before then. I would say I had about 100 before then, so yeah, it obviously makes sense that 5 years later, or 6 years later, we'd have 5 to 7 years later, we'd have 800 videos under our belt. But anyways, so way back in the day, I had Volume 2 of Ultimate X-Men, and I could not get into it. And this was kind of my wake-up call for getting what I like to call quantity over quality. And that was like, oh my god, this book is $3.99, and this book is $2.99, and this book is $1.99. I got all these books for this price. And instead of getting one book that was really good, that was $20, I would rather get 10 trades that were $2 each. Cost, and sometimes, like, again, like with Absolution, that worked out for the best, like absolutely 100% for the best, because I got that entire series in trade format for $10. That's awesome. But something like Ultimate X-Men Volume 2, and that, honestly, I will be rereading that, so it probably was just me just not liking the way that was written, or being kind of confused, maybe. Oh, well, even then I knew that was gonna happen with Volume 2. And that was another thing. I would just get Volume 2. Like, I would get, like, Volume 16 of Ultimate X-Men. And I got that before I got Volume 1. Sure, I was like 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 16, 18, 19. That's basically what it was back then. It was just like, oh, cheap trades. I'll eventually get them all. And that was their thing, too. I figured eventually my local comic shop would have the entire run on X-Men in trades at that discounted price. So it would have been worth it in the end, sure, but they never had it. And they never wanted to pay full price for this, so. However, nowadays, I probably would be fine with it. I won't do that, though, because I have way too much to get anyway to concern myself with the Ultimate X-Men Omnibus. But I would say, so far, that Omnibus is worth it. This is exactly what the Ultimate Universe should be. Changing some things here and there with the X-Men characters, but not changing what makes X-Men so good and so investing. It's also written by Mark Millar, and I really like Mark Millar's writing, so of course I'm going to like this one. But I think even people that don't like Mark Millar's writing will like this. It is not like his Kick-Ass. Birds of Prey. This is Huntress. So this is actually called. So they call it the trade Birds of Prey Huntress, but the actual series that's collected in here is called Batman Huntress Cry for Blood. The 6-issue miniseries written by the absolutely outstanding Greg Rucka. And this is pretty damn good. So, I forgot to do the out of 10 review. Alright, so, you know what, we'll give it the same rating, because basically I felt the same way. But another great Greg Rucka book. This was written back in the days where he was unstoppable, and this is a great example of why. I already want to reread this book. That's how good it was. So both these get an 8 out of 10. The only thing is that sometimes there was some pacing issues here and there, and I think they had to do with how old it was. I think it was like late 90s, mid to late 90s. But I would say even for then, sometimes the dialogue got a bit heavy, and sometimes like the narration got a bit heavy, but not too much. I couldn't tell you a specific part in the book. I just remember being like, oh my god, we have 12 pages left of this book. I thought we were almost done. Like any other book, I feel like it'd be almost done, you know? I feel like I've been here for longer than I should be here for. Is this a longer issue? No, it's not. Like, it was just like a couple times here and there. Superman Up in the Sky. My favorite Tom King book, and that still stands true. I think this is the perfect example of even Tom King can write a damn good book for people who don't like Tom King. I'd say anyone who doesn't like Tom King should check this out. Anyone wanting to get into Tom King should read this book. I mean, you don't want to blow your load too early to be put in like a very vulgar term, but I do think this is the best way to get into Tom King. Also, this is pretty decently priced. It's $16.99, and each issue is double the length of your average. Not double the length. Maybe it is. I would say it's at least 33 pages, so 10 pages more than your average. Let's say that 10 pages more than your average comic book issue. So, pretty decent thick trade for $16.99. I would say get this. They're coming out with a deluxe edition, and I would say it's worth it. It's worth every penny. 8 out of 10. And I honestly, at the end of the day, like, his Batman run people hate because they're like, oh my god, he doesn't know Batman. But he knows Superman. That's great. There's no character assassinations. There's no anything of Tom King, there's nothing of that really here. Like any of his tropes that people hate and rag on him for, even his fans rag on him for, it is not here. It is not present here. The only one I would say is his blue era is somewhat present here, and also his awkward writing. But that was because it was a child saying it. But even then, I was like, "That's not how children talk. That's very strange." I know what you're doing here because you're making him sound like a child, and I get that. But that's kind of a bit basic. Go hang out with your wife's boyfriend's kid, your wife's husband's kids, and go hang out with them for a little bit, rather than all right, Superman. Also Superman. I don't know why couldn't even think of the name. Frank Miller. Nope. Grant Morrison. Frank Quietly. Frank. God damn it. Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman. I made fun of Tom King so much that all his fans are making my brain into mush. They're using their lasers on my brain, making it into mush. I can't even come up with a good allegory. That's how bad it is. That's not even the right word, allegory. What's going on? Alright, All-Star Superman, Grant Morrison. The first time I read this book, I was like, yeah, that's really good, but I don't think this is the best Superman book of all time. Second read through, I felt not double that way, but like twice that. Still, I felt like I understand why people like this book now. Like I completely understand. This is probably going to end up being one of my favorite Superman books. Now that's kind of unfair to say because I don't really have like favorite Superman, Batman, X-Men, Spider-Man books because everything I come up with, I'm like, I feel like not only is there more that I've read that I'm just not thinking of right now, but I just if it feels wrong. Even if I knew even if I got every single Batman book I've ever read, got that and I started ranking them, I feel like it'd still be disingenuous. Now with Image Comics, I can probably do that in this indie books in general. I can do that a lot better. Again, my top 5 books, probably top 10 books, would all end up being indie comics. And yes, I'm including Vertigo as indie because it's independent. It's the creator's work. Now, indie, I don't want to say indie always means they get full royalties, because I'm almost positive that Garth Ennis does not get full royalties for Preacher, but it's still an independent work. There was very little editorial mandates on Preacher. But, so I still count it as indie. But again, I would feel like top 5 is definitely all indies, and top 10 I feel like would be the same way. But going back to Superman, I still really like this book, and I think this will be one that I read literally every 6 months. I'll read this one, and I am going to try my best, try and remember to check out the All-Star Superman movie. Actually, they have it on Tubi, so let's do it there. Lois Lane by Greg Rucka, and this is another one that I think is really good, and I think gets a bit too much hate. One of those kinds of books. There is again that first issue, I've heard it's just all a Trump allegory. I think even Greg Rucka admitted to that being that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'll watch that video again. But that requires me to watch a Young Rippa video, so maybe I won't do that. And just say that off the top of my head because that's the best way to say it. But Lois Lane, Greg Rucka, I still like this book. I just think it's a good Greg Rucka story. It gets a bit convoluted. That's what's my one biggest downside is that it gets really convoluted. The first 8 or 9 issues are really good, and then the 10th issue comes around and they just go this route that I'm like, what the hell is this? I kind of liked it this time around. I kind of was fine with it because I understood more of what was going on, but it's still very convoluted. I don't think I need to do that. I think it's just been a more straightforward story in a good way. Greg Rucka is good at writing a straightforward crime mystery story, and that's what this is, and it's really good. And then it gets kind of derailed, not completely. I would still give this the same rating either way, an 8 out of 10. And had it not done that, it would have been just an 8.5. So 8 out of 10 for Lois Lane. Oh, and 9 out of 10 for Superman. I keep forgetting Superman, All-Star Superman, and then I did 8 out of 10 for Superman Up in the Sky. Okay. Alright. Batman Eternal is pretty damn good. I think this is the best way to do yet another Batman story, is to have it not have it be so much of this happened in Batgirl, this happened in Batman, this happened in Batman and Robin, this happened in The Dark Knight, this happened in Nightwing, this happened in come on, I can't think of any other. This happened in Superman, this happened here. No, you can read this as your first introduction into New 52. You need to know a bit, like, there's a bit of things you need to know about prior, I feel, but honestly, not really. The more I think about it, no, you don't need to. This could be your first introduction into a New 52. I would say to go into like this and Scott Snyder's Batman, I would say so far are quintessential New 52 Batman title to check out. And, of course, Peter J. Tomasi's Live Batman. Oh, and then this happened in Detective Comics. I should have said. Not said Superman. It was Detective Comics, Dark Knight, Batwing if you're counting the Bat titles. But as far as, like, Batman goes, it was Detective, Batman Eternal, Batman Solo, Batman Adjective List Batman, and come on, I know there's more. I just said it. Detective Comics, Batman, oh, Dark Knight, Batman and Robin, and that's 5 of them. 5 Batman books going on in New 52. So you would think, oh, this is gonna talk with Batman, isn't it? And I know because I watched Omar's overview on New American Edition, on Kenny Omar's overview of this, and he said there's one issue that you do need to read New 52 Batman Scott Snyder to understand it. But even then, I think it's just Death in the Family. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's just Death in the Family tie-in. That's it. Like, you can read this one solo. And it's, again, I really appreciate that. And it's pretty decent. Like, even, like, to say that this is really good, it's pretty damn good, and have Tim Seeley be one of the writers is an incredible feat for that writer. I have not read anything by Tim Seeley I've really, really liked. And even his entries I thought were just decent enough. Kind of forgettable, honestly. But and I also like the overall arc. So it says Scott Snyder and James Tynion are credited for the story. I think that's what it was. I think they were credited for the story. They started out, and then each writer added to it, but they still kept the main storyline going on. I will not spoil what that storyline is, because it is a pretty damn investing storyline. That was the best part of this series. And another part, which was not their doing. So, really damn good. And I will not spoil too much of that second part that's not their doing. I think it was, I can't think if anything, it was either John Layman or Ray Fox. Neither sounds right. I don't think it was Scott Snyder. But there's a introduction to a pretty, like, if you've read, like, Robin, it's not any of the Robins, technically not any of the Robins. But it would be a spoiler if I said who it was. Yeah, you know who it is now if you're doing your Batman. Here you go. That's all I had to say. Oh, and 8.5 out of 10 for Batman Eternal. I know 8 out of 10 because of Tim Seeley entries. It's not every issue is as good as the last one is. It is a bit mixed, but like not too bad. Like I wasn't reading one, I was like dreading it. No, it was just kind of like the pacing was off. You could tell that a different writer came on board. Would have liked more Scott Snyder. I would have been fine with Tim Seeley not writing a single issue, and Scott Snyder comes along and writes those issues instead. And instead of John Layman, they got I don't know how early. And I'm not gonna be too early for this writer, but I can't think of the name. He's writing that wrote 5 Ghosts. That writer got him on board. Enigma. So yeah, what's the price on this book? Yeah, $24.99. Sure, it's your standard size hardcover, but still a hardcover, pretty thick hardcover. So yeah, $24.99 for a hardcover of this size from Dark Horse. They're good at that kind of pricing. It's only $5 more than your average trade of Hellboy, which only collects 4 issues. This collects 8 issues, hardcover. That's double the Hellboy. So Enigma by Peter Milligan. The first time I read this, I didn't like this at all. Second time, this is a great example of why I do rereads. I really like this one. I think before I gave like a 5 out of 10, I would say this is more like a 7.5 out of 10. There is some pacing issues. I do feel like this book is a bit too long in most parts. Again, each issue I was like, we had 12 more pages. My God, the pacing is a bit off here and there, but the writing is still like I was still invested. I did not mind that. It was more just because I was taking a lot longer to read it than I thought I would have to. But other than that, and knowing forward, that's gonna probably take me about an hour, close to an hour and a half hour to finish each issue of this book. I think I'll be fine with the pacing. But other than that, this book is pretty damn good and extremely underrated. And it's kind of a good example, kind of ironic that I say that because Peter Milligan's also a pretty underrated writer. 8 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. And I would say the pacing in general is a bit lacking. Like, not just because of, like, oh, if I know it's going to be longer, I'll be fine with it. No, I feel like even then, I'm kind of like, yeah, this book could have better pacing here and there. But here and there. I mean, I would say that it is kind of in that realm of confusing, where you feel like not every loose end is tied up at the end of the book. But again, still invested. Nevertheless, there are obviously some things that are tied up, that are like concluded. But I feel like there was still some things left open, and they were trying to like, oh, open-ended kind of sort of, and it's like, why? All right, Ultimate Comics X-Men. This is written by Nick Spencer, and this is much better than his Spider-Man run. So I know Nick Spencer is capable of a lot more. That's why I give a lot of shit to his Spider-Man run, even though I still gave it a decent review. But this is pretty damn good. Very investing, and I would say this is a good place. You could honestly, like, I wasn't too terribly confused reading this, so you could have read this instead of going in chronological order if you just wanted to read Nick Spencer's X-Men rather than Mark Millar and Brian Michael Bendis' X-Men. Would not put that past you. But 8 out of 10 for this. I know, a lot of 8 out of 10s, but that's why I could tell you what I liked about the book. Only thing I didn't like about that book was sometimes the ultimate comics, ultimate Marvel tropes showed that kind of like awkward storytelling, awkward dialogue, kind of like you knew it was like it wasn't treated as much as like the mainline X-Men was, but it's Nick Spencer, so most of the time that was not present because Nick Spencer is such a great writer. All right, so we're gonna do these two back to back, and then one more. So Rorschach and Strange Adventures. I still like Rorschach a hell of a lot more than Strange Adventures. However, this is more an 8 out of 10. This is more like a 7 out of 10. So not too far behind. Honestly, almost, 8 out of 10 seems too high for Rorschach. 7.5 for Rorschach, 6.5 for Strange Adventures. And a lot of the reason is that this comic has a lot better pacing than this one does. And you think that they'd both be as investing to the way that they're, because of the story that they're telling. But it is a great example of why I don't like Tom King. And it's just the way he writes his dialogue, the way he just, it shows a lot in his Strange Adventures. And honestly, I think every other time I find more and more to appreciate from his Strange Adventures. So maybe next time it'll be at 7.5 and this will be an 8.5. But until then, they're good. You know, I'm glad I have these in my personal collection at the end of the day. Because I can reread them. And honestly, every now and then I will get interested in reading these again. So there's something there that keeps me going, keeps me rereading both books. And yes, when I read Strange Adventures, I have to read Rorschach right after, or at least at that time. I cannot read Strange Adventures in week 1 and Rorschach week 4. I have to be reading them along with each other at the same time. And then finally we have Superman Unchained by Scott Snyder. And I got so now I always said that New 52 I thought was overhated. That people give it too much shit, and there's a lot more New 52 titles that are really good that people give it credit for. I have finally found one that I did not like at all, and that is Superman Unchained. There was like a few things in here that I liked, and it was like sometimes the story, sometimes they had good pacing. This is a snooze, an absolute snooze. 5 out of 10, would not recommend. And that, I just say, is that. And we literally did last and least. We always say last but not least. That is last and least. However, I do not mind having to. I don't mind having my PC. Number one, I got it at a discount. I don't know what price I got it for because I had to go way back. I've had this book for a long ass time. I would have to go way back into like the absolute, just way far back, probably like 5 years ago almost, because I got this book a long time ago. I want to say I was still in high school almost, but anyways, I want to say I got this book for like $15.99, and again, this is a pretty heavy, just pretty big trade. No, I was in college. I don't think it was that long ago. I think it's because of how long a year is. Like when you think of 2 years ago, it's like not too long. I've been getting Image comics for 2 years now. I'm not counting this year. I'm counting it 2022, 2024, because we've only had like 2 months of 2025, so I don't really count. If I started getting them in February of 2020, if I start getting them in February of 2022, I would have said 3 years, but we gotta give it till May. But anyways, that, as I say, is that. So yeah, as I was saying about Superman Unchained, I got this at a discounted price, so I'm not too annoyed that I bought this book. I could have gone to the library or something like that. I actually don't think they have it at the library, do they? Let's see. And also, it's like with Strange Adventures and Rorschach, it is one that I do want to give a second chance to, because I do feel like there's some bit of unfairness here and there, more so than with Strange Adventures and Rorschach, because I do like Scott Snyder's writing. I even like his Wake. Like his Wake, I think, is like one of the most underrated books. Like, I'm almost on par with how Omar feels about that. Uncanny Omar from Near Condition, how he feels about that series. I like how I always say Uncanny Omar before I say the actual YouTube channel, and it's happened twice now. Okay, so they have it sitting as 0 and 0. So go back. Total copies 2. But you say 0, 0, 1. So they do, yeah, they have it. Library does have it, so I could have waited. And honestly, that's a great example of why I'm getting Image books now. So the thing, so this is the end of the comic call. This is the end of the comic reviews. If you want to just hear me, if you want to hear me prattle on, like I'm going to be prattling on right now, keep watching. If you don't want to, I don't blame you, because this video is already 37 minutes long. But as I was saying, like, I don't mind getting something like Wiccan the Divine or Wayward. Now, Wayward, I did get the hardcovers. The library has just the soft covers, and even then, I remember looking it up again because I was like, what if they have the? Because I only looked it up on their new catalog. I never looked it up on their old catalog. I wonder if they have the hardcovers, and even then, on their old catalog, their main catalog. There's a reason why there's an old catalog. They still have it because some libraries have not made the switch to the new catalog. There's reasons for that, but anyways, actually I don't think there is, because I think there's I say because they're far away, but I guess I'll do it. I mean, there's one that gets like 2 hours away, which I think like I almost want to say it was 2 hours, not an hour and a half almost. I don't know. I have to look it up. Anyways, I noticed they're an hour away, but anyways, keeping sidetracked. But like with books, like, so I knew they had at least the first volume of the hardcovers, but I did not mind upgrading to a series that I know that the library had the entire series of, the entire run of, because of the fact that I don't mind having it on my PC, because it's such a good series. And even something like Mother of Madness, I don't mind having, because again, like, Image is my favorite, seems to be my favorite indie publisher, my favorite publisher in general. So I want to gotta have their best and their worst. Because again, I say my favorite publisher. I've been getting so much from them. I've been getting, again, nonstop since 2022 Image books. So much so that I'm surprised. Like, if I was any bigger of a YouTuber, I would definitely be getting an email here and there from Image saying, "Hey, you want to sign up for a little partnership like how Omar does for Marvel and DC? You get our books when they come out, and you can talk about them and review them and whatever." I'd sign up for that. Even better if they knew which ones I was reading, so they were like, Power Fantasy, that's one of the books I'm getting. Power Fantasy, Volume 2, we get you that when it comes out, like, even before the comic shops get it. What's an example? Darkness, Volume 4 hardcover. We'll get you the hardcover if you want, and we'll actually upgrade you to the, forget if I went to that, but give you the upgrade to the first 3, yeah, right. But that's what they would do, and that's what Omar does. It's what Omar gets. He gets the omnibuses from Marvel. But I'm saying, like, specifically the series that I'm on. So I wouldn't get something like Geiger Volume 4 if they didn't have Geiger Volumes 1 through 3, because I would not be able to behind on that. And even then, I'm so OCD about it, and it's also a good way for me to dial it back a little bit and not getting so crazy about how much I need from books each month. I could be getting even crazier if you can believe it. Because I do I don't want to get Geiger, because there's Geiger Volume 3 or Volume 2. Those issues are right now. Volume 2 isn't even out right now. It's an ongoing, and there's so much of Jeff Johns is out right now from Image that I don't think I'd even be satisfied if I had all the trades that, like I say, all the trades come out and they go on hiatus for a little bit. I feel like even then I'd be like, oh, you're not going on hiatus for long, and when you go on hiatus, I'm gonna have all these trades, all this shelf space that's taken up by Jeff Johns' work, and it's still going. So what I mean by that is a good month of comic hauls for me is getting everything that writer has written for Image Comics. Like December is a good example. For the most part, every book I got in December was the last of what I needed from that writer. That's what I call a good comic haul. And the only ones that are gonna write more is Dan Waters, but so far it's just a one shot, and I can just get that on the Kindle. Scott Snyder, I know Undiscovered Country is going to come back eventually, but it's going to be at least in May. So I have all that time to be satisfied with that comic haul. I know it's coming, so I'm kind of So December wasn't so great, kind of, sort of. But you get the point. And that's why I took a lot. And that's so actually on my shelf I have one side is almost all taken up by books that I have all that writer's work, and the other side is books like Jason Aaron. He has a new ongoing going on right now, Bug Wars. So I took out those, replaced them with my new books I got, and then put the Jason Aaron's on the other side. That's kind of ironically enough, one of the books he's done for Image is called The Other Side. That's funny, and I recently read that too. All right, so that is it. Huge tangent there, but I said what it was. I said it was a tangent before I said it. This is a good example of me being a good example of why I would be really good at doing live streams. My cousin struggled, Logan's Media Hub. I remember watching his live streams. He was playing Minecraft. He was going yeah, that's a really good joke, man. Yeah, Minecraft, I've been playing that for a long time now. Yeah, the movie looks awful. I want to see the movie. Bent of Phrase, that was pretty good, yeah. And that's just answering chat. And me, I used to be prattling on, I'm saying solo live streams. And that's why when we're together, that's the best live stream ever. He has been getting better at it. He does actually talk, and he has a pretty decent following so far because he's been doing live streams for so long and so consistently. So hats off to him. For the longest time, it was literally just playing Minecraft. That's all you're just watching someone play Minecraft, and eventually, and every now and then it'd be interrupted. So it's like 1 hour of Minecraft occasionally interrupted by me talking, that meme. And that's exactly what it was. All right. End this video now because I've got to get on my reading. Bit far behind. I had the whole day because it's a snow day, but I have a whole lot to read, but I still want to be consistent regardless.